Tonight, a tragic death from COVID-19.
Touches your own friends and your close family. It affects you.
What a friend is saying about the loss of a Southern Colorado doctor. Plus, long testing lines, often delayed results. A team with Colorado ties may have the answer.
You basically rub this. You pick something that you think is right.
The simple COVID symptom check that uses the nose in a different way. 6 months after a horrific crash that killed a 5-year-old boy, a suspect is behind bars tonight. Why it took so long to make an arrest.
And we have an 11 breaking weather alert tonight. Some of us still seeing snow. I'll tell you how much you can expect. 11 News starts right now.
Now, with an 11 breaking weather alert. This is KKTV 11 News at 10.
And let's begin with that 11 breaking weather alert tonight. Chief Meteorologist Brian Bledsoe is tracking some big changes, not only with the cold, Brian, we got some snow falling right now.
That we do, Adam, and it finally made its way into Colorado Springs and across some parts of El Paso County. Most of this is light, but temperatures not being terribly cold just yet. Some of that's going to end up as just water on the pavement that's probably going to add some slick spots tomorrow morning. But I just don't think we're going to see a whole lot of heavy snow out of this deal, at least back here along I-25. A little stripe that's doing better here east of Canyon City over toward Pueblo West. But all of this is moving off to the east and northeast. Where I actually think the better snowfall is going to end up tonight is this area right here. You see a lot of holes in the radar here back to the south and southwest, and that's an indication to me that this is probably going to swing through fairly quickly with pretty little fanfare for the majority of us. But as I said, be careful when you're out there on the roads. I've been watching traffic all evening up here north of Colorado Springs toward Monument Hill. It hasn't slowed down a ton. We've got a little skiff of snow there on the parking lot. Temperatures here around 30 in the Springs, 34 in Pueblo, 24 Woodland Park. All three locations getting a little bit of light snow, but a lot of this I think will be out of here by early tomorrow morning. Beware of that. Snow tonight for some. Most of that accumulation will be pretty light, but we have more of that on the way, I think, during parts of Friday and another round on Saturday. I'm going to talk about a wintry forecast as we start your weekend coming up in a little bit. Adam.
Okay, we'll see you then. Tonight, death rates from COVID-19 are up across the country. Yesterday was the deadliest day yet for the U.S. during the pandemic. There were more than 3,000 deaths related to coronavirus reported. The total U.S. death count now stands at about 292,000. The state of Colorado has seen more than 3,000 deaths total since the start of the pandemic. And one of those people who lost their lives to COVID-19 is a local doctor. His death comes after he continued to see patients at his office at Parkview Medical Center in Pueblo during the pandemic. Dr. Adol Vahil founded Digestive Disease Specialist of Colorado in 2001, and he died last night. 11 News reporter Danielle Croder is joining us now, and you spoke to his family tonight, Danielle.
Yeah, Adam, they are heartbroken. His son says Dr. Vahil was an amazing father and doctor who had an incredible sense of humor. His family tells me the doctor did not hesitate at all to continue seeing patients during the pandemic, even if that meant exposing himself to the deadly virus. He told them, quote, "I'm a doctor, that's my job. Otherwise, what's the point?" End quote. I spoke to one of his friends tonight about the loss and what he wants others to know.
Dr. Vahil is a fantastic individual and gem of a person, full of energy, gave himself to the end to his profession, and he took care of his patients very dearly. Don't be against taking a vaccine. The vaccines are, I'm so glad they're coming. I wish my friend, lived long enough to get a vaccine, so he would have never gotten this disease.
Dr. Vahil's son told me this about his dad. "He was my hero. He was my best friend, my mentor, everything I want to be. If I'm even a quarter of the person he was, I will be the luckiest guy in the world." He also described his dad as the most generous person in the world. Adam, back to you.
Your heart goes out to his family, friends, and patients. Thanks, Danielle. The first coronavirus vaccine in the U.S. is on the verge of being approved for emergency use. An FDA advisory panel voted today to recommend an emergency use authorization for Pfizer. Final tally was 17 in favor, 4 opposed, 1 abstained. The FDA is expected to follow the panel's guidance and has promised to act quickly. Many experts have expressed hope that this will mark the beginning of the end for the pandemic.
I cannot roll up my sleeve fast enough to get this vaccination.
The AP reports tonight that Pfizer is working with investigators to figure out what caused 2 allergic reactions in people in the UK who got the vaccine. The FDA's vaccine panel will weigh in next on the one made by Moderna. That is also on track for public release by the end of this year. The Pfizer vaccine may be available in Colorado within days. Colorado teachers are now asking to be moved up on the distribution list for a vaccine. They say with the push for students to return to in-person learning, teachers need to be vaccinated for their safety. Currently, educators are scheduled to be vaccinated in the spring.
The one thing that, we really want to bring up is that everybody wants students back in school right now. And so for us to get our teachers back to school safely, they need to have access to the vaccination.
The governor's office says they are following CDC recommendations and they simply don't have doses to distribute to anyone else earlier than scheduled. The state says the vaccine will be available to the general public beginning next summer. 11 minutes of nonstop news continues with this. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office is facing a federal lawsuit tonight claiming excessive force. That lawsuit claims a woman was injured after she was pulled over and tased 2 years ago. We want to warn you, some of the video in this story may be graphic. 11 News reporter Robbie Reynolds has that story.
Our partners at the Gazette first reported this lawsuit, which had this video attached. The lawsuit says it's body camera footage from Deputy Christopher Burley. The lawsuit also identifies the driver of this truck as Mary Duval and the deputy she's talking to as Robert Sorois.
Leave us alone. You guys are disgusting.
Deputies ask the woman to get out of the car, and eventually she does. The vital seconds that follow are unclear because the camera slightly turns away. The woman ends up on the ground with another deputy on top of her.
Put your hands on your back!
The lawsuit also included these photos. The suit says they are of Mary Duval and the injuries she suffered because of this altercation. The lawsuit says she is asking for thousands of dollars to cover medical bills. It also includes these photos, which the lawsuit says are the injuries suffered by Deputy Robert Sorois. In Colorado Springs, Robbie Reynolds, KKTV 11 News.
According to court records, Duval was arrested on multiple charges, including assault and DUI, but those charges were later dismissed. We reached out to Duval's attorneys. We've not heard back yet. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office told us they cannot comment on the lawsuit. They did say all 3 deputies named in the suit still work there. New information tonight about why it took 6 months for police to arrest a suspect in a deadly crash that killed a 5-year-old. Fountain police say 41-year-old Demetrius Dunbar caused that crash that also injured multiple others in May. According to police, he was under the influence of narcotics at the time. Police say they could not make an arrest or perform a sobriety test that night because Dunbar was taken to the hospital for his injuries. They did take a blood sample from the suspect at the hospital, but the lab results didn't come back until July, and by then they say it was too late.
Once we got those lab reports, we drafted our warrants, and of course they were issued by El Paso County. But at that point, the suspect had already gone to Las Vegas.
That suspect, police say, was arrested on a warrant in Las Vegas for allegedly using a false identity and then brought back to Colorado earlier this week. On to an update now on a suspect who allegedly hit and killed a utility worker in southern Colorado. 11 News has the court documents which outline what police believe happened before the crash. That crash was near Highway 50 and North Elizabeth in Pueblo on Tuesday. According to the arrest papers, the suspect fell asleep at the wheel and then hit a Black Hills energy worker who was working on the sidewalk on the side of the road. Police do not believe drugs or alcohol were factors in that crash. Jarrett Bragg is now facing charges of failing to remain at the scene of an accident involving death and careless driving resulting in death. He's being held on a $100,000 bond. Volunteers gathered together today to wrap hundreds of gifts for foster children in our area. Kids Crossing supports foster families in our community, and this year they're providing presents for 376 foster children in Colorado Springs, Pueblo, La Junta, and Denver. Things, as you know, might look different right now, but that's not stopping volunteers from making sure that Christmas cheer is created for these kids, especially this time of the year.
For us to be able to provide some Christmas magic to them is huge, especially this year.
It's not too late to donate a gift for a child in need either. Kids Crossing's collecting presents all the way to December 20th. We have the information that you need to know on our website on how to do that. Go to KKTV.com and click on Find It. Tallies are in tonight. This year's Colorado Free Application Day saved more than $2.3 million for students. That's according to the Department of Higher Education, which says that nearly 57,000 students submitted for admission on October 13th. That's a 28% increase from last year. It's the third year the state has held a free application day. Okay, happening tomorrow, listen to this. Our morning and night team here at KKTV are having a competition to see how much money we can raise together, and it's all to help people in need in El Paso County. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to be ringing a bell for the Salvation Army to try to help them reach their goal of $20,000. Tomorrow, a member of our morning team will be at the Walmart off of Platte from 7 to 10 a.m. again in the morning. So following that, a member of our evening team will be out there again from 3 to 6. In the afternoon and evening. You can stop by to donate there, or you can go to our website and pick which team you want to win. And don't forget, everybody wins in this case. Just go to KKTV.com and click on Find It. There are long lines at COVID-19 test sites across southern Colorado, but some researchers with ties to Colorado might have a quick solution.
You have basically the card and the app, and you touch this.
How they're using, I should say, these tools, and a simple sniff to check for a common symptom. Plus, how soon you need to get packages in the mail if you want them to arrive in time for gift opening. That's coming up next. Brian?
Adam, some of us are going to have some slick spots early tomorrow morning, so while the snow won't be that big of a deal, we might have to take it slow in the Springs, especially Monument, as well as Woodland Park. We're just getting started with this little change of winter. I'll tell you more about it coming up next.
You're watching KKTV 11 News with Adam Atchison. Chief Meteorologist Brian Bledsoe with your certified most accurate forecast. And Taylor Kilgore with sports. This is KKTV 11 News at 10.
Countdown's on to the holidays. There are some upcoming shipping deadlines you need to know about if you want your gifts to arrive in time for Christmas. Next Tuesday is the last day to send your packages using standard ground service with the post office. If you miss that, though, don't worry, because gifts can still make it on time if you use first class or priority mail services by Friday and Saturday of next week. The Postal Service suggests that people send their packages as early as possible to make sure they arrive in time. And by the way, to help, Colorado post offices are going to be open, a couple of them are locally, for the next 2 Sundays, which is obviously a day that they're typically not. So keep that in mind. Under an 11 breaking weather alert tonight, as we said, and Chief Meteorologist Brian Bledsoe is watching the big changes because we've been so used to warm weather, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had 60-degree temperatures 4 out of the past 5 days, and today we obviously got a little bit of a reality check. Tonight, with a little bit of snow out there, the same story. Now, our hour-by-hour forecast model doesn't have a whole lot of snow for us right now up and down I-25. We do have some snow showers out there presently. It'll likely add to some slick spots on the roads early tomorrow morning, so please be aware of that. Even though we don't get a lot of snow out of this, it's just something we'll have to pay attention to early on. Most of the better snow, I think, is going to fall out here to our north and northeast, and a lot of this will pretty much wind down by the time tomorrow morning gets here. So bottom line, while we might not have much snow falling out there tomorrow morning, there'll be some slick spots here and there. It'll be cloudy, definitely cold. Temperatures only in the 20s and 30s to get things going tomorrow. Through the first part of tomorrow, pretty quiet, socked in with the clouds, obviously staying cold, and then a little better chance of some of these snow showers getting going again by late afternoon and into early tomorrow evening. Some of them will be fairly spotty. Not everybody will see them, and they'll be pretty short-lived as well, as most of the energy with this kind of skirts off to our east. Tomorrow night, staying cloudy, temperatures definitely on the cold side. So a transition to more winter-like weather around here, definitely, if nothing else, just simply because of the temperatures. I'm not that excited about a lot of snow with this deal. Now, that being said, if we get underneath a better band, we could see a 2 or 3 inch amount here or there. If you don't, well, probably on the lower end of that. That's why I have the goose eggs on there as well. Keep in mind, this is through Friday, late afternoon or early evening. Farther to the south, it's the same story. As little as no accumulation for some folks, as little as a few or as much as a few inches, I should say, especially in the higher trains south and southwest of Pueblo. This doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a deal, whether it's tonight or tomorrow. But as I said earlier, watch out for a few icy spots in Colorado Springs, bridges and overpasses especially. Pueblo, for the most part, you'll probably be okay tomorrow. And then Monument, Woodland Park, you're colder, maybe a little better snow at times. Keep that in mind. It'll have to be a little bit slower travel for you if you're headed in that direction. 30 tomorrow, 32 Saturday. That'll be our next round of snow. We'll get finer details in on that as we head into tomorrow, so please stay current with the forecast. Sunday, dry, 34 degrees. A little warmer on Monday, and then we'll cool it right back down, I think, as we head toward the middle part of next week. But beyond Saturday evening, I think the rest of the forecast is looking pretty dry. Pueblo, Canyon City, Woodland Park, you've got chances for snow showers, obviously, tonight and tomorrow, then again Saturday evening and Saturday night. But beyond that, the forecast looks pretty dry with temperatures coolish for this time of year. Adam.
Thanks, Brian. You know, millions of people are being tested for COVID-19 every day, and that means long lines and sometimes delayed results. But there may soon be an easier and cheaper way to test for one of the main symptoms of the virus just by smelling something. New at 10, 11 News reporter Megan Heiler has the story of how a CU alum is helping to make that happen.
During a pandemic, a simple sniff can make a big difference.
We expect that 95% of people who have loss of smell is because of COVID. A very high percent, yeah.
Derek Tomray is a professor at Yale Medical School. He's a CU Boulder alum and created the You Smell It test as a way to screen for COVID-19.
Basically the card and the app, and we touch this and we scan the card, and we're given a number of windows. And you basically rub it, you pick something that you think is right, you go on to the next one.
Loss of smell is a hallmark symptom of the virus. Not only can this help detect COVID, but it's cost effective too. Each test just costs 50 cents.
It works much better than we thought. If you do this twice or three times a week, you're effective at preventing viral spread as doing complex molecular tests, which are much, much more expensive and really impractical to scale up to large numbers of people.
Roy Parker, who's a biochemistry professor at CU Boulder, worked with Dan Larimore, an assistant professor in computer science. Together, they used mathematical modeling to see if this concept could work. In short, it can.
It's really useful for us to test people just walking around society who think they're healthy for COVID. And if we can identify them, we can break chains of viral transmission. If we could do that, then I think we could greatly reduce the number of people who have COVID but don't know it.
Right now, the test is waiting on FDA approval for emergency use authorization. But for the two buffs, the future of it is exciting, and noses everywhere can get a break from the swab and opt to take a deep breath instead.
We have novel kinds of testing coming out, like the smell test, and it's inspiring. And I'm very happy I've been able to be part of it in a small way.
We want to help. There's a moment of crisis and need, and we have to do something about it.
The experts do add that this is not a way to test for COVID-19. They say it's a good indicator, though, for symptoms in order to go get tested. Colorado Congressman and state's Attorney General both weigh in on the multi-state legal case that may be headed to the Supreme Court soon. Straight ahead on 11 News at 10, we'll tell you what they have to say about a lawsuit over the results of the presidential election.
Precious Metals Report brought to you by Hallenbeck Coin Gallery. Whether buying or selling, dealing with us.
This is developing right now. Southern Colorado Congressman Doug Lamborn is throwing his support behind a lawsuit that supporters hope is heard in the Supreme Court. Texas's Attorney General claims the election results in 4 states are illegitimate, specifically Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And this suit claims those states violated the law by changing their voting laws, leading to election irregularities, and they say skewing the results of the election. Congressman Lamborn said in a statement that the lawsuit, quote, presents the concerns of my constituents that the unconstitutional irregularities involved in the 2020 presidential election cast doubt upon its outcome. Again, that's a statement. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, though, is among 23 attorneys general calling for the lawsuit's dismissal. In a statement, he says, quote, the Texas lawsuit undermines this state authority and it is a threat to the rule of law. Santa got some help delivering Christmas toys to kids a little early today. He and other volunteers visited Fort Carson. 2 Black Hawk helicopters helped bring sacks of donated toys to kids this morning. And as you may be able to see on your screen, Santa himself was very thankful for the assistance, sitting there waving. Taylor?
You love to see that. Well, Justin Simmons is the Broncos nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year, but as Coach Fangio, he says the accolades shouldn't stop there. Why he says Pro Bowl or bust. Next.
Now, KKTV 11 Sports with Taylor Kilgore.
Justin Simmons is a top-level safety, but his work off the field deserves just as much recognition, whether it's his work with his foundation or stepping up to provide meals for kids suffering with schools closed down. Simmons is a guy who continues to make the most of the platform he has, so it's no surprise Denver has once again nominated him for Walter Payton Man of the Year.
All-Pro, Pro Bowls, all the things that come with like what you're chasing after for as an NFL player. This award means the most to me personally. I'm just truly humbled once again by the nomination.
It's well-deserved. Simmons is only the fourth Bronco to be nominated for this award twice. Coach Fangio says it is well-deserved. He says it's not just about the work Simmons does in the community, but how heartfelt the work is. He also added that if Simmons does not make the Pro Bowl this year, he'll be very disappointed. You remember the Broncos considered it a snub that he wasn't named to the team last season, but right now he does have 74 tackles through 12 games played, 4 interceptions. Yes, that already ties his career high. And a reminder, Simmons is a free agent in March, so hey, pay the man. We cannot let a player like Simmons go. Rams and Patriots kicking off Week 14 in the NFL on Thursday Night Football, and it was a career day for Cam Akers, 171 yards for him. The Rams would punch this drive in on the next play, but a tough night at the office for Cam Newton. Here he's going to throw the pick, and Kenny Young is taking it all the way, 79 yards to the house. The Patriots lose this one big. They fall below 500, so this will be the first time without a 10-win season for New England since 2002. 2 weeks into the college hockey season, and Air Force, they are still looking for win number 1. 0-4 to start things off. It's definitely not the start the Falcons wanted, but Frank Serratore, he's ready to push forward. The head Falcon says there's a lot to take away from the series they just had with Robert Morris. Even when he saw his team trailing big, that young, injured Air Force squad never stopped fighting.
I was very, very proud of our group for how they responded and fought back in the face of extreme adversity. We have been tough to play against. We haven't been good enough for that to translate into a win for us. We're not there yet. We're going to continue to work hard, battle, encourage our kids, and make strides as we go through the season.
As we all know, college hockey, it's just about peaking in February and March, and Coach says they plan on other teams fearing them come playoff time. The Falcons are back on the ice for a pair of exhibition games this weekend. Adam?
Thanks, Taylor. Thank you for watching KKTV.com throughout the night. We'll see you for 11 News this morning at 4:30 a.m.